P6, representing data graphically. Okay? We're going to represent data graphically. Okay, by doing line plots, by doing bar graphs, and by doing histograms, and by doing line graphs. When we get to line graphs, we're going to use the graphing calculator. We can technically use the graphing calculator also for bar graphs, but we're only going to use it for the line graphs today. So let's talk about constructing a line plot. How do you do a line plot? This is like 4th grade material.
You basically take the number first.
Yeah, you basically make a number line, and then you just put X's or dots above it where it's at. So line plot uses a portion of real number line to order numbers. Uses a portion of a real number line to organize page 57. Okay? When you do this, you have something called the frequency. The frequency measures the number of times a value occurs in a data set.
Don't touch.
Frequency measures the number of times, okay, the number of times a value occurs in a data set. And then you also have something called the range. What's the range? You guys should know what a range is.
Isn't it like the difference between the greatest and least?
Yes, difference between the greatest and least. So, if we go to do a line plot, let's say they want us to represent the data on a line plot. And they give us the numbers, what? And they give us the numbers 93, 70, yes, 76, 67, 86, 93, 82, 78, 83, 86, 84, 78, 77. Okay, let's just say they give us those numbers. In order to put this on a line plot, you're simply going to draw a line, label it. I'm going to start at, what's my lowest number? 70.
Yeah.
My highest number is 93. So I'm going to go 70, and then I'm going to go 75, 80, 85, 90, 95. So, at 93, I would put an X. 93 is probably right here. At 70, I'd put an X. At 76, I'm going to put an X. At 67, oh, I lied. 67 is my lower number. 67, I'm going to put an X. At 86, I'm going to put an X. At 93, I'm going to put an X. At 82, I'm going to put an X. At 78, I'm going to put an X. At 83, I'm going to put an X. At 86, I'm going to put an X. At 84, I'm going to put an X. At 78, and at 77. Okay? And so then that's how you would represent your data on the line plot. Easy? Okay, we can all handle that. one example. If they say make a line block, that's what you're doing. If they say a histogram, we need to talk about what a histogram is. A histogram,
That's what I'm thinking of.
a histogram, okay, is a frequency distribution can be used to construct a histogram. So it's a histogram uses a portion of real number line as its horizontal axis. A portion of a real number line as the horizontal axis. Okay. So it is a frequency distribution. It represents frequency distribution. Okay, so it represents frequency distribution. So this is how you would do this one. Let's say you have a lot of data. So they took the data from the 50 states, and they said the table at the right shows the percent of the residents' population of each state in the District of Columbia who were at least 65 years old in 2012. Construct a frequency distribution and a histogram for the data. So they have a bunch of data. I'm going to just choose the first 25 to make it a little bit easier. 8.5, 14.5, 15.0, 14.8, 12.1, 11.8, 14.8, 11.4, 15.4, 18.2, 11.5, 15.1, 15.3, 13.2, 13.2, 13.6, 13.7, 14.0, 13.0, 14.5, 13.0, 17.0, 14.6, 13.6, 14.7, and 13.5. We're going to just use that 17. Okay? So in order to do a histogram, you're going to create segments, like chunk things together so that you have like 0 through 12 or whatever. So if we look at this data, we have 8.5 as the lowest, and as the highest currently, we have 15, I want to say it's 15, no, we have 17.0. So we're going to make intervals. So let's say that I want to say my first interval, it includes 8 and goes to 10, okay? And then my next interval is going to include 10 and go to 12. And then it's going to include 12 and go to 14. And it's going to include 14, go to 16. And then we're going to say include 16, go to 18. Okay? So when I have the bracket, that means that that number falls in there. When I have the parentheses, it only goes up to there. From there, you have to make a little tally chart for your intervals. So how many do I have in the range 8 to 10? Well, I have 1, and I think that's all I have. So I, what? Oh, wait, they're going off. Yeah, I'm going off of that. So I only have 1 in this category right here. In 10 to 12, I should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. I'm just doing that so I can know what I've gone through already. I'm I'm making tallies above their intervals. And then, oh, I lied. I don't have 4. I can't do 12 there. 12 has to go in here. At 12 to 14, I have 12. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, 14 to 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. From this category, I have 1. Oh, and then I gotta make one more category. 18 to 20. And I have 1. Now that I have my data arranged, I can then make a histogram out of it. So a histogram has bars that touch, okay? Because when you do a bar graph, the bar graph has gaps between the bars. On a histogram, they touch. So when I draw this, I'm going to draw it according to my group range. So I'm going to come here and make my histogram chart. This category is 8, and then 10, 12, 14, 16, yes you can, 18, 20. And then here would be, we can count by ones with the data we have. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I need a portable paper, sorry.
Oh, maybe this is help. I forgot we're going to 18, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay. And then I simply make my chart according to this. So I'm going to come here, and at 8 to 10, I have 1. So I take my graph, go to 1. Take my graph, go to 1, fill that in. From 10 to 12, I have 3, so I go up to 3, fill it in. From 12 to 14, I have 9, so I go to 9. Fill it in. From 14 to 16, I have 11, right? Fill it in. And from 16 to 18, I have 1. Fill it in. And from 18 to 20, I have 1, and I fill it in. And that is a histogram. The bars touch. A histogram. Okay, that's a histogram. And then you have something called a bar graph. Bar graph.
Oh my gosh, this is so hard. Park in my face itches.
Bar graphs. A bar graph is similar to a histogram, except the bars can either be horizontal or vertical.
This isn't funny.
Okay. So they can be horizontal or vertical. And the labels of the bars are not necessarily numbers. Okay, so the labels do not have to be numbers. So let's say you're given this data. It says year and number of stores. of stores. And it says the year is 2008, 2009, 10, 11, 12, and 13. And this is 7,720, 8,416, 8,970, 10,130, 10,773, and 10,942. Okay? So that's your data. You're then going to represent your data in a graph. When I come over here, I'm going to create my graph. Okay. I'm going to put the year at the bottom on my x-axis, and I'm going to name the number of stores my y-axis. So x, y. Here I go. 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And up top, or as I go up on my y-axis, I'm going to just label it by 2000. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay? From there, you just fill out your bar graph the same way, except for your bars do not touch like they do on the histogram. So 2008 is 7,720. So you're going to go to 7,720. You're going to make a bar, and you're going to shade it in. You're going to go to 2009, and you're going to go to 8,416. And you're going to make a bar, and you're going to shade it in. These do not touch. That's the key.
Graphs do not touch.
Not
Histograms touch.
right. Graph.
The one that touches histogram.
Bar graphs is 2 words. They say separate. Histograms is 1 word. It goes together. Okay, 2008 or 2010 is 8,970. So I'm going to go up to 8,970. Make my bar graph. 2011 is 10,130. So up here, make my bar graph. 2012 is 10,773. Go up to here, make my bar graph. And 2013 is 10,904. Go up to here, make my bar graph. Okay? So that's 3 examples of different types of graphs. You also have a line graph, which we've done before. That's where you're going to use your graphing calculator today because you're going to input data and do that. And then you have a double bar graph, which is the same thing as this, but it might compare a boy and a girl. So you'd have a boy data and a girl data at the same intervals. But those would touch the ones that go together. But then the next group would be together, and then the next group would be together, and so on and so forth. So it's time for homework.
Repeat it, I'm gonna send you the pictures.
Okay.
Pictures.